Hi, this video is one of several about the pronunciation of P and B. In this video, I want to give you some background or some basic information about P and B, and I also want to give you some ideas about how you can improve your pronunciation of P and B. Let's look at the list of languages that may have a problem or may have difficulty with the pronunciation of P and B. Do you see your language on this list? These check marks indicate languages where the difficulty will probably be at the end of a word. The rest of the languages could have a problem at any point in the word. Okay, let's start with some basic information about P and B. Why do we put P and B together? Well, P and B are almost the same sound. They use the same mouth position. The difference is P is voiceless, meaning it is produced only with air moving out. B is also produced that way, but it is voiced, meaning that you turn on your larynx for the sound of a B. Usually, the most difficult issue with P and B will be P at the beginning of a word. So how are P and B produced? Okay, the air is going to come up into the mouth area. And with P and B, the lips are shut. And that keeps the air inside the mouth. It will go into this area too. And the air will push against the back of the lips. Then, when the lips open, the air will come out. That's the release of air. Now in English, we use a lot of force. We use a lot of air. And this could be one problem in the pronunciation of initial P in English. You must force some air out. So you can test yourself by holding fingers up in front of your lips and saying a word that begins with P. Pen, pen, pin, pin. I can feel air on my fingers. Okay, that requires more of a spitting out of air. Your lips will be tight. They will tighten down, and it will be more of a p, 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 more of a spitting type reaction. I think that you can improve this particular pronunciation if you're having a problem, because you can see your lips, and also you can test for air. There can be a second difficulty pronouncing P, and that has to do with voicing. Okay, here we have the word pan. The P is voiceless, and that's why I've left it empty here. But the A and the N are voiced, and this is common. You will often see a vowel after P, and all vowels are voiced, or some consonant that is voiced. But what would happen if you begin your voicing too early? Here. If you begin the voicing too early, then this P will be voiced, sound voiced, and people will think it's a B. And from my experience, this is what happens. Many times English speakers will think you are starting the word with a B when you're really starting it with a voiceless P. Now, this could be a little more difficult to work on, but I would suggest trying to separate the P, and, just to feel how much more time it needs to be voiceless. And perhaps that could help. Next, I want to show you a difference between P and B at the end of words. Okay, here are 4 minimal pairs. You can see that they end in either P or B. And the only difference here is the P or the B, because each vowel is the same in both words. Okay, now if you've studied English, you might know that sometimes we drop consonants at the end of words. So, how do we know? Especially when you look at cap and cab. They're both nouns. How do we know if I'm saying, "Where's my cap?" or "Where's my cab?" Well, the reason that we know is because of vowel length before P and B. Vowel length before a voiceless P is shorter than before a voiced B. Now, I'm not talking about short and long vowels, which you may have studied. English has short and long vowels. This is different because both of these are the same vowel. But before the P's, this is going to be shorter. And before the B, it's going to be longer. So I'm going to read these 4 minimal pairs and listen to whether you can hear that this one is short and this one is longer. Cap, cab, lap, lab, rip, rib, mop, mob. This applies to any voiceless and voiced minimal pair. The vowel is going to be longer in front of the voiced consonant. I hope that's helpful. I plan on making a couple more videos on P and B. I hope you'll join me. Thank you for watching.